Alright, let's start this video again. Hello, back to the channel. I'm still struggling, watching the camera and actually speaking, but I'm gonna get used to that. So this is gonna be an Undying guide. I will actually explain Undying. Before I continue, my name is Jeff, or Raza inside. I'm a former 7K player, now I'm still going there. I'm mainly nowadays support player. I used to be a mid laner, but nowadays I just play mainly support. So I'm trying to make guides like as simple as possible, explaining fundamentally the laning stage. Generally for the post 5, I will do post 4 guides later on, and I'm trying to explain the positives and the negatives, ups and downs of a hero. This time I'm gonna pick Undying, and hopefully if you do enjoy the content before we jump into the games, please, subscribe and like, and just comment. I think comment makes more sense because I have fun and interaction with the audience. GG, and let's start with the first game.
Moving up and down, side to side like a roller coaster.
Alright, this is game number 1, and I'm gonna show exactly how to lane with Undying. But before we do that, we need to break down the very fundamentals of the hero. So why should you pick Undying? Undying was one of the heroes that I was stuck a lot in the Ancient Divine bracket, and I didn't really use him in the Ancient bracket, but I picked him along the Divine bracket, where the position 1 is usually a little bit more reliable. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, all I need to do is make sure I'm gonna win the laning stage, and then he's gonna carry me. And that was usually the case, right? So Undying is a little bit more different than all the other supports, and because he's considered a lane dominator, right? There's different itemization, different skill build, different ways to approach a lane, but the reason why he's so strong, and he's a position 5 and not a position 4, I'm gonna really point that out, is because he can actually trade 1v2. So the reason why he's a position 5 and not a position 4, let's start with that, it's mainly because do you see when, the creep wave meets under tower, and you have all this space to actually trade, okay? While if you place him on the position 4, why would you place a hero on a lane that the creep wave meets under the enemy tower, so you can't really dive and you can really harass, right? So keep that in your mind. On top of that, Undying, he's great laner, he's lane dominator, he can win lanes 1v2, he can trade inside the wave, he's so strong, especially versus strength heroes, but there's only one downside, and that comes up later on, okay? That he never starts something on his own. He's really good, he's great at teamfight, but he doesn't have cuts. In the mid game, let's say you play versus Tinker, or versus heroes like Hoodwink, for example, it's so hard for you to cut someone. And for example, if a fight does not happen, similar to Abaddon, for example, if there is no fights going on because they have a lot of split push, they have some kind of Ember Spirit or Tinker or Slark, then this hero feels completely useless. He's great in teamfight, but if the lineup is formed in a way that there are not going to happen, there are not going to be many team fights, then this hero just falls off. Okay, so in terms of itemization, what I always suggest is, if you have seen the previous Lion and the Crystal Maiden guide, what's really important is to have a salve, a couple of sentries, and then, maybe windlays, maybe some mangoes, and it depends. Now, I don't suggest you buying and wasting gold on sentries to block this camp and unblock this camp, because you can always bot block this camp, okay? You will not be exposed because there's not a single hero in the game that can actually kill you, that can actually trade with you favorably, okay? So why do I go for this build, right? So you can go for windlays, you can go for stick, you can go for this grid build, and you can also go for clarity, salve, tangos, and a lot of mangoes to spam if you feel like you just need your post 1 to just farm safely, okay? Now I'm going for this skill build because I get to play versus Bristle, so definitely the stick. I need an Orb of Venom. Why do I get Orb of Venom and not Windlace? Because I play with a PA, so we have so much slow that we can get a lot of right clicks off, okay? So, usually if you have Undying, you can and you should contest, right? You should contest runes. And it's something I didn't do this game. Like, honestly, I was playing on autopilot. Lastly, before we jump into that, what you want to do is actually place a lane ward here, right? The moment you have a lane ward off cooldown, you just bring it up, okay? An observer ward. So what you should do with Undying and how you should win the lane, and we'll actually show some really good examples and a really bad example to see that when I don't really follow the pattern, the script, then everything just the lane's just fucked. Okay, it's like they will not pass this line. You see, I will just not let him pass this line, and I always use 1 decay, and I learned that from experience, so I can actually make sure that with a second decay, I'm guaranteed to actually trade with anyone. Sometimes even 1v2 with 2 decays. I'm gonna show example right after. You will see how you can even trade with 2v1. So you see, I will not let him. I don't really care. In my mind, all I want is my post 1 for the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, until reaching my consumables and my gold is on 0, to have all the lasses and the enemy position 3 to be level 1. Okay? So this guy completely ignores me, and all of a sudden, no respect, right? Classic Bristle player, right? Dies. If you have seen the previous guides, do you remember how you actually win lane and you find opportunities? 2v1. Whenever it's a 2v1, you always force. You see, all of a sudden this Grimstorke was not in position. He wasn't there. Honestly, even if he was there, it wouldn't make any difference because Grimstorke is quite weak as a hero. So Bristle would still die. Now, do you remember, like from previous guides, that even if you don't kill him, as long as he doesn't contest creeps, he's dead. The position 5 does not kill. You see, like, practically we don't really kill. We just got a gazillion right clicks on top of him, and we just killed him, okay? And now it's 2v1 again. We go kill this guy, or we at least try to trade, okay? What do I bring with all this gold? Do you see? No boots, no wind lace, no any other item. I need regenerations. I need consumables to keep the pressure going on. Okay. Now, Bristleback is here. Why is it here? 2v1. And right click. I will not, like I will say that I will not let them pass this line as long as I am there. Okay. They will get no lasses. Okay. Now, in terms of level 2, in the past, I always go for Soul Rip. But right now with the Tombstone buff, where it needs 1 more attack, so from 4 hits to 5, it's actually, like, it's so much better to even go Tomb level 2. But you can always get to choose. In my mind, to help you a little bit, I like 1 for 1 build or 1-3-2 build when you're level 7. And of course you get to 6, to skill the ultimate at level 6. And all of a sudden, Tombstone, hitting, and you see, like, we just get the right clicks. Also, like, a little bit piece of advice here, let's go a little bit back, is if you ever play versus Undying and someone uses Tomb level 1, you just run. You just run. You don't hit the Tomb, right? It's just so bad. Now, 2v1, and the laning stage here is actually over, okay? I mean, it's over. Nothing to say here. It actually shows how much strength this hero has, and yes, I do know that I get to play versus strength hero, but if you think most offlaners are strength heroes. So, again, I'm gonna show one last time that you do not want the offlaners to pass this line, right? And in the end, I'm gonna show an example where I actually do that because I was late to do some dewarding in the mid lane. I did that and I got punished really hard, okay? Undying is really strong. You can even trade inside the creep wave and absorb the enemy damage from the creeps, but it's just so easier to just start harassing before they start there. Before, we lose more time, we are gonna jump on the game number 2, and I'm gonna show another example where the laning stage did not start that well, and it turned out to be really good. So let's go there. Welcome back to game number 2, where I'm gonna show a game that didn't really go that well. So you see that the itemization here is completely different from the previous game, right? I go for a Salve, I go for Tangos, I go for Mango, and I go for Windlace, right? So, why do I go for different builds? So, in my defense, first of all, I thought, just because there was a last pick Pango, I thought Pango was going to be the mid lane, apparently. I thought it was going to be, a Hoodwink Sandking lane, but apparently I had a Pango and a Hoodwink, okay? Second of all, therefore, before I told you not to buy Sentry, but I thought, Sandking is going to get Sandstorm, so I might as well do that. Second of all, I get to play versus Hoodwink, okay? What does this mean? Does Orb of Venom makes a lot of sense? No, because I'm not gonna get a lot of right clicks. Orb of Venom is really good when, you know, you get to play versus a hero like versus Viper or something that's really slow and you can just, you know, get multiple right clicks on top of him. But with Hoodwink, he can just disengage, he can just use a bushwalk, he can just do anything, okay? So I'm not really gonna go for a lot of right clicks, okay? So the game starts, and remember what we said I want to do? I don't want my opponents to pass this line. I was a little bit late, so I'm like, fuck. I can't really do that yet. On top of that, like a little bit food for thought. Undying is a hero that's really good, even in 2v1, but you just need to show a little bit of respect and understand that, can I trade with them without a lot of DK? And if the answer is no, then you just have to build more DKs before you start trading. On top of that, I have a Wraith King, not the greatest lane partner, I want to say. I don't really like Wraith Kings in my games. So what I do is, how can I make sure that my Wraith King is gonna try to secure the creep, is start punching this Pango, right? So you see, like, I'm just trying to get them out of the lane and start trading with him as much as possible. Even if it means I'm gonna trade unfavorably, okay? Doesn't work out, guess what we're going to do? Hit, 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 hit. I'm gonna show you. Like, even if you die here, it's fine. The question is, like, when you die with Undying, it is okay, unless it's first blood, as long as you have all your consumables spent, so all your mana, and this applies for all supports, right? So when I don't feel comfortable like dealing with this guy, what do? I just try to deal with the enemy +4, which I'm really good. I'm pretty confident I trade really good with that, right? Using the salve, and what do? All of a sudden, I approach, I die, but I try to approach, try to pull and approach Undying as a classic position 5 hero, right? If it doesn't work out. Regardless, what do we do right now? If you think about it, why is Undying a lane dominator? Because if the creep wave is here, I can just punch people here, and the lane is pushed. So what I'm going to do is stack. I should probably pull instantly, but you know, shit happens sometimes. And also remember that they're level 2, and I'm level 1 and level 3. So they have double the spells. Rating just 2 spells, I have 1 spell, and they have 2 spells, so I really don't want to trade until I'm level 2 at least. So what I'm going to do is pull this camp, deny as much as possible, which is not the greatest mindset, just because I don't have a hero that, you know, has a level 6 power spike, so I want to give him 3 XP. When you play with Undying, you always want to play in the offense, okay? So, full creep wave here, denying, and I want to fight when I'm level 2. Now I'm level 2. You can get to go either for Soul Rip or Tombstone. Nowadays in my latest games, I went for Tombstone level 2. Sometimes even level 3, you know, when I'm level 3 I skill Tombstone level 2. And it worked out really well. But you see, the important thing is keep the skill point. You don't know what you are going to need. Okay? And all of a sudden, they committed all their spells, so they can't disengage. And all of a sudden, Tombstone, okay? And I'm hitting. Tombstone is not really gonna, you know, be there. They're gonna focus it, but that's fine. And you see how all of a sudden I'm in the offense. And I really wanna show you that. I could go for the heal and disengage, or I can understand that, okay, this guy is fine, so I might as well. They can't disengage everything they have used it. And all of a sudden, Tombstone, and they can't really, where am I? They can't really go out of here. And just punching. I don't want to kill them. Ideally I do want, but the second best scenario is do what? Make sure they have both, I don't know, 100 HP and contest no creeps, okay? And all of a sudden, I'm playing on the offense, constantly right-clicking, okay? Hit all the time, right? Try to get as many right-clicks as possible, and this guy dies, really good for me. And like, that's a little bit funny because this guy died as well. So that's a lot of XP, right? So what do? We have 500 gold, 600 gold. Is the laning stage over? The answer is, you know, this is a professional pool, by the way. The answer is no. What do you bring? Do you see that? More consumables. If I go for something like boots, the laning stage is over. They are just going to run us down, okay? Run us down. So what do? More consumables. Okay? Now, do you see? I'm level 4 and I have only skilled 2 things. I might go for level 2 Soul Rip or level 2 Tombstone and 1 level in Soul Rip, okay? I'm like, okay, trade with this guy, constantly trade, dying. This was super bad for me, by the way. But you know, I don't know, sometimes it's fine, okay? So 250 gold, think about it. What do we get? Ideally, now that I think about it, I should probably get a raindrops, okay? A raindrop. But what you need to have in your mind is that unless you have completely abandoned the lane in your mindset, you always fight, okay? Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back to see a little bit. And that's all of a sudden I go for Soul Rip, right? I'm like, okay, Soul Rip in my mind is probably the best spell. It's so much heal, so much, and I mention heal because Hoodwink and Tango have limited amount of damage, and Red King has actually a lot of health. So if they commit on him, I just use Tombstone. There's a lot of creeps around you, and you do what? You just kill bomb him, okay? And you see, like, I don't commit anything, and all of a sudden, now I commit that. And all of a sudden, we just get the kill. They can't escape from that. Tombstone super strong, and we just run them down. And all of a sudden, it's a really good laning stage, right? Even this Hoodwink is gonna get run down. And at this point, salve the carry. Always have a salve for the carry. If you want to learn the fundamentals of the post-5 role, please watch a Crystal Maiden game where I actually explain everything. And do what? This is like really probably the last lesson. If you have a good laning stage, and right now I do have a good laning stage, right? And the enemies are keep coming, what do? You keep coming yourself, right? If they keep dying, they're coming, they're dying, and they come back. What do? You go back yourself, right? Why would you rotate anyway? And all of a sudden we can just get to bully him. And let's go back a little bit. Do you see how we use our spells, but we don't have the we don't really expect to kill him, you know? We're like, can you just, I even use Mango. I'm like, nuke. Can you just, because the position 5, again, does not kill. You always build up your kills, even as I'm dying, right? Even as dying. But if you think their combo, Hoodwink Tango or Hoodwink Sandking, they use all these, how good they synergize. So it's really important to actually understand that the position 5 does not kill, rather than build up the kills, where the position 3 and 4 usually have, you know, you die instantly. Okay, now I go for boots because I have 700 gold, but again, you see, more consumables. And now I feel so comfortable, you know, so strong, that even if I get to die, it just doesn't matter. I'm level 5, 6 minutes in, right? It's okay sometimes to die. Lastly, do you see how the laning stage is still going on? So what's important is maybe get some jungle items. I say that to all my students, you know, get jungle items, right? It's just so good to get jungle items. And you see how I just right click to get the jungle items as fast as possible. The moment it's a 7-minute mark, sometimes shit happens, didn't get the jungle items. Okay, let's go back. We're gonna talk about that, right? This is like playing on the edge, but I think it's really good. So here's what I want to do, and this is how I want to, like, maybe stop the video, right? Maybe when I go level 6. I want them to commit on me, because I know that if they commit on me and I use Tomb, they can disengage. So even there, I just use Soul Rip, you see? I'm just heal bomb. And then I'm just trading a lot with them, right? And all of a sudden, maybe not the best trade in terms of, you know, how to approach, but I feel like it was a really solid try. So, lastly, what I want to mention is about Undying on level 6. Level 6, if you have a really fast level 6, you just kill everyone, man. Like, this spell is just so broken, so broken. Sometimes it's just so strong, like the damage amplification, if you see, is just so strong, 25% in the end, 35%, so strong that sometimes I feel so comfortable that I end up dying, okay? But you see, like, and even here, I just have so much strength. At post 3, use the ultimate, use Tombstone here, and all of a sudden, you know, didn't work out, or I can't recall. But this is what I mean. I feel so comfortable that, you know, I just went and died. I'm like, okay, probably mistakes happen. I think that's a really good way to see, even if I feed, let's say, which practically that was a little bit overextension. Even if I feed, what happened is Wraith King here, Pango here, huge difference in a lane that we're not supposed to win, right? Or maybe not supposed. We are supposed to do well, but I feel like Wraith King just farmed so well, so fast, and Pango is like a hero that kind of needs to snowball into the game, right? He needs levels, but he also needs a good laning stage and maybe find kills, especially if you have really good combo with Hoodwink. Before losing time, let's go to game number 3, which I think is a little bit worse laning stage, or it started with, way worse circumstances. So let's jump into that. All right, let's start this video right now. And this is like a game where I felt like the laning stage went pretty well, honestly. And okay, that's a little bit premature. So I go again for this build, and the reason why I'm going for this build is what? I thought I have an Enigma position 3 and the Pudge position 4, which that wasn't the case, right? So I said, okay, the lane is gonna constantly be pushed back, so I need to run and kill the Eidolons. That was my thought process. I also got a lane ward here, which like a little bit the exception. You don't really usually get a lane ward, but I feel like, I have position 4 Storm, NS mid, NS position 3. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not gonna give a ward to a position 4 Storm. Anyway, and as we said, you wanna do what? You wanna try to contest. I'm like, okay, Treant Protector. In my mind, is like, okay, so Pudge is here, and Enigma is here, because Enigma is position 3. And all of a sudden, these guys are coming. I give first blood to Pudge, which was a position 3, so probably this is the worst possible start, okay? So what do we do? Stick to the plan. What's the plan? Do not let them pass this line, right? So I use Q and I start trading with him. I'm like, okay, these guys probably have a lot of damage, so I need to all of a sudden build it up a little bit more before I start to punch them. So what does this mean? Maybe I should have done more DK damage, because I found a double DK here, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's go a little bit back. DK here, I'm like, okay, it's strength, I can just punch you. Apparently I was not, especially with so much slow, Orb of Venom, Nature's Grasp brought a lot of damage. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, so what do I need to win the lane? More fucking consumables, right? And now that I don't really have a lot of health, what do I do? I'm gonna, like, usually the health and the mana, you want to balance them out. So if you have more health and less mana, you want to trade a little bit more of your health, rather than if you have a lot of health and no mana, like a lot of mana and no health, you start to use 2 decays, maybe 3 decays before you actually start punching them. So how do we win this type of lanes? Whoever takes level 2 fast will actually be able to abuse the level 2 power spike, okay? So I'm like, okay, I really want to trade with the Pudge, and Treant Protector just keeps punching me. So I'm like, okay, now that this guy's alone, maybe I can just get some right clicks. I'm waiting for this level 2, and then we can just probably fight, okay? Let's go back to show that again, because everything matters. You see, I have no consumables right now. 1 set of Tango. I'm gonna sip 1 set of Tangos. I'm that desperate this game, okay? Waiting for the level 2, and we get the level 2, and the question is, we are level 2, they are level 1, at least the Treant Protector. So I'm like, can we actually fight? I'm like, fuck it. Tombstone in the middle of nowhere. Why do I go for Tombstone here, not for heal, for example? Because I know Treant Protector and Pudge, no attack speed, no disengage, they are stuck there. They will either have to run, or if they go for the Tombstone, they'll not be able to do that. So I'm like, I'm gonna use Tombstone, and you see how I'm just running? I get hooked. So unfortunate. I was about to mango and use double DK, but all of a sudden, you see, we at least get the return kill, and that was really good for us. What do we get? Forgot my tangos here. Nice. And what do we do right now? The lane is pushed. Can I harass them when the lane is pushed? No. What do we do? Single pull. Single pull is fine. I'm gonna say that 100 times. Single pull is fine. Do single pull, And of course, what do you do when you single pull? I'm going to right click as much as possible. And now I'm waiting for the Tombstone. And what do we do until then? 2v1, right? So I see Treant Protector here. I'm like, okay, I can trade. I can probably trade a little bit. The moment I see Treant Protector, I immediately disengage. Okay? I'm like, I say a lot, I'm like, okay, I need to fix that. So what we want to do is, the moment I feel like they're going to use Nature's Grasp and I can't disengage, I'm gonna use a Tombstone and we're gonna start the fight. But until then, I feel a little bit, that's because Pudge level 3. I feel like, you know, they can just bully me. If they're not together, you know, like combined, I can trade with them. Waiting for the level 3, and once I'm level 3, I really call that to my position 1. I need my level 3, now we can fight. And you see, I don't really go for anything, right? I don't really go for Tombstone or Soul Rip or DK, depends. And now, do you see? I'm like, Tombstone level 2, because you don't have a lot of attacks to actually deal with that. And you see how aggressively I just place it? I'm like, no, you can't disengage. And now, even with this attack speed is just not gonna happen. And this guy's dead. And this guy, I'm just focusing him. With level 2 Tombstone, all of a sudden. And this is like where we win the lane, right? They can't really deal with Tombstone. Too much damage. Okay, I really want to show you that again. The reason why you go Tombstone level 2 here is because, do you see how the spawn, the zombie spawn time, you know, is actually smaller? That's usually what we love about the Tombstone, okay? And then you just run them down. You know, this was a lane that started the worst possible time, right? And I also have off time. I also have a lane partner, you know, that's not the best. Okay, so what do? Single pull, clarity. And why do we have a clarity here? Because when you're low mana, low health, what you want to do is approach all of a sudden Undying as a class, as a crystal man. You know, I'm just chilling. I'm just gonna use my salve. The reason why I'm not using the salve is because I have a lot of extra strength here, so I wanted to get this up here before I get the most out of it. And suddenly, you know, what are they doing here? Like, they tried to cut the waves. I'm like, maybe I just felt I was just over baiting here. I felt like they could just kill me. But do you see how I'm just baiting before my cooldowns? And even if I die, it just doesn't matter. Double kill, right? Double kill. Ideally, I would like my Wraith King to come here, but I saw the Mirana coming, and look at that. I'm just baiting. You know, it's really smart. At this point, it's over, right? Even if I die, all of a sudden my Mirana is like, what? He gets a level, really good TP by him, by the way, and beautiful, right? This is what I mean. It would be quite unfortunate if no one rotates, but, you know, playing in a little bit higher bracket, I sometimes have a lot of faith. And lastly, I want to show, what do? It's time for me to rotate. Why do I need to rotate right now? Think about it. I need to rotate because they're not going to go back to the lane and Wraith King can just flash farm. So I think at this point the laning stage turned out to be really good, right? Even though it started really rough, and it's a lot of rough for my Wraith King, at this point I feel like for a lane that we're not supposed to do that well and started the worst possible way, giving first blood to Pudge, right? I think for me it's time to move on, and the reason why I move on is just because they had the Timbers on mid lane, and that means with the Catapult you usually get the tower, so we had to do something about that, right? I felt like this is a really premature rotation, and I shouldn't have done that, because, you know, we called Mirana to go to the mid lane to use the arrow, and at this point I feel like the tower was really, really fine, but I think that was really bad rotation, because I really, you know, Tombstone doesn't really make a lot versus Timber, so, and I felt like I should probably have more levels on Soul Rip. Yeah, at this point this guy is just super strong, and I get to die here, get baited to death. So that was pretty bad death for me. So after I'm just dying there, what do? Think about it. Back to the lane. I learned my lesson. I can't deal with the Timber, so Pudge is already top. So what do? Go and kill this Pudge, or at least, you know, try to keep my Wraith King, you know, babysitting. Because if Pudge, for some reason, cannot be here, he doesn't really have other alternatives. Maybe he can just go jungle with mid hook, but that's it pretty much. I think that's a really good laning stage where Candace got, you know, we had the worst possible start, and then what happens is we actually come back with a lot of consumables. We got the kill. What did we do? More consumables until we were fine, and then I went to the mid lane and I actually fed. Welcome back to game number 4. I say welcome back like it's another video, but this laning stage that also went well, and, you know, sometimes again I get to play versus 2 strength heroes. I get to play versus NS, and I get to play versus Tuskar. But I'm gonna show how strong Undying is in trading 2v1. We've proven that already, so I'm gonna show another example of what's going on. I get to play with Terroblade. Terroblade is like Void. Is like maybe Void's a little bit better than TB. Is like Morphling. He has some slow with the reflection here, but sadly my Terroblade pre-skilled Metamorphosis, which is not that well. You know, it's not that good. And I get to play a lot with. I know that I'm gonna play with Tuskar, and I'm gonna play with NS. So what does this mean for us is, for us as Undying players, is that I just need a lot of consumables because I'm pretty confident that I might not be able to kill them to go for Orb of Venom or Windlace to run them down. But I know that they will never pass this line if I play correctly. Okay, let's go a little bit further. So we said again for a lot of time. Oh, that's a lot of pause. Okay, what we want to do is contest the runes, right? So I'm just checking that here. Maybe they place the ward so we can find them on their way back. So I'm like, okay, it's NS, it's Tuskar. I can definitely deal with both of them, right? I'm like, okay, I can trade with you. I'm just start hitting. And I see Tuskar, and you see how I just disengage? I do double DK, and I still disengage because I know that they can just run me down. So what I do, actually, I'm just buying time, right? And I'm just waiting because on the next DK, I can actually trade with them. I really want to show that well. And, okay, let's go back a little bit. Double DK, and what do? I really want you to see what I buy. Do you see that? Tangos. I need more health because my main source of, you know, my main form, probably that's a word, form of trading here is gonna be health, not a lot of DK. And you see, okay, I'm like this guy, and I'm just trying to punch all of them. Using one DK, so in the laning stage, I'm gonna use one more DK. And you see how they just pass this line, but I have 16 DKs. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just punching here. Hit, hit. And now he uses tag team. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just so strong. And now we could have gotten a kill, but pre-skill Terrorblade kind of screwed me over. You know, shit happens. And I'm like, too bad we can't actually take a kill. Now I'm trading with this guy. I'm like, okay, what do? Salve. No salve? Okay, Jeff. Probably I don't use salve. Tango. I'm just trading again and again. Use again tag team. I don't really care at all. And I use DK again and again. Is the lane over? No. We still have to fight for that. Now, I really want to mention something. If I were to die here, let's say it's not first blood, and I were to die, that is fine. That is fine. And I get level 2. And do you see how we get level 2? And they're like level 1? What do? Like, skill is not gonna give me the kill. I'm feel quite tanky here. You know, I'm kind of baiting. Again, Tombstone. And you see how I just disengage? I'm just baiting here. This guy's dead. I'm just baiting. And this guy just goes for the tomb. I don't know why people go for the tomb. And that's really good for us. I want to pull, but fuck, Tombstone kind of screwed me over. What do? Bring the lane back, right? It's really important. Bring the lane back. So it's gonna be here, so we can start the same thing, right? So the lane is back. Do you see how I bring more consumables again and again? Windlace, really good, because I got first blood. So what does it mean for me? I have actually spared gold to actually work with that. I'm just using DK again and again, and they will not pass. I feel so strong right now that they can just not pass. And what do? I'm waiting for my level 3, and now Jupe, hitting. And why do we do that? We don't want to kill him. Actually, we do, but it's so hard to do it in one instance, right? So what we end up doing is always harassing. And all of a sudden, do you see how he's not contagious? Like, if you see the creeps, TB is just 17 and 9, right? Now they go for tag team. I know that they committed, and this is where I screwed so hard. Like, I really want to point this out, because sometimes you think that, you know, you have predicted everything, but just didn't work out. I'm using DK here. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna commit them on me, and they commit with a tag team. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use Mango, and I'm gonna use Tombstone. Sadly, Mango wasn't enough, and I'm like, fuck, but it happens. I see Terroblade being like low HP. What does this mean for me as support? Babysit him. Please don't die, TB. So I just get to salve him, okay? And now, a really aggressive tomb. Didn't work out. I think we get the kill here. And my role as a support, actually, you know, that doesn't really have to do anything with with the roll, never hesitate. Never hesitate to use BKB, never hesitate to use Tombstone, never hesitate to use, I don't know, Finger of Death. Just never hesitate, because you usually lose a lot of kills, or you just end up dying. Lastly, that's my last salve here, and I feel like, you know, at this point, I should get more consumables, you know, for myself. What I want to show is NS is level 4 right now. This is where things become a little bit tricky. I'm gonna go till minute 10, but you see, like, with level 4 NS, I'm like, fuck, I cannot really actually deal with this guy anymore. I tried here to do like that just ulti kind of screwed me over. But I feel like if I was like a little bit faster, because look at that, I tried to kill Solric last minute and use it on me. And then I'm like, okay, they're gonna commit on me. I'm gonna use Tombstone, which is like level 2. I'm gonna use DK. I'm gonna survive 1 more second, and we're gonna get the return kill. That wasn't the case, sadly. But again, my Terroblade is just farming, and it's a hero that is really strong and farms really well, but has really weak laning states, right? So my tip is like, I'm to the jungle. What do I say? You know what? I'm gonna just get some XP. Just post 5 things, you know? Can be aggressive. My you know, my power spike is, you know, over. Now I'm just doing some next level double windlass here. Probably want to buy stick. And all of a sudden, I'm just chilling here, right? I'm just chilling. And this is, let's go back, where I felt like I'm just baiting. Do you see my Tombstone? I'm just kind of, I even trade back. I'm like, okay, I was hoping for someone to react here. Like, and I'm just getting the return kill. Fuck, the return kill. That's really good. I was kind of baiting. You know, this comes with experience, and my advice, you know, is you need to play more Undying, or generally more. This is like the hero-specific things, but I think that's really good. And lastly, what I want to show, like, you know, I get the return kill. That's not like, you know, that's some pretty cool things. And now what I want to show is I have my level 6 here. Okay. And let's go back to see that. And then, you know, this is what I don't want you to do. I'm like, okay, I have Invoker. He was doing real well in the mid lane. There is a Zeus. This guy just can't run if he gets cold snap. So I feel like all we have to do is go in, super dive here, because I felt so confident. We do get the return kill, but I actually, you know, that's the type of thing that, you know, might even lose you the game. So don't do that. I felt like so confident on doing that. I felt so strong that I played. The execution was so sloppy. I think that's also a really good example of how not to use the ultimate. But let's jump to the last game, how to actually lose a game as Undying. Welcome back to the last game on how to actually lose the lane as Undying. And I get to face an I get to face a Mars and the Snapfire. I'm pretty sure that despite the bracket that you are, this is the most famous combo. Really hard, so much damage, so much CC, really hard to deal with, right? So you see my items, and that was like a little bit wrong. I approached Undying like a little bit different. That was also in the previous like parts where Tombstone was actually 4 hits to destroy and wasn't as strong. So what do? I feel like so strong, so I went for Windlace. That was a mistake. What I needed is more mangoes, because I felt, okay, I'm Undying versus double strength heroes, you know. I might as well, you know, I can just trade them comfortable with that. I know that they have a ward here, I just felt that. And so I want to do ward here, I'm just trading. But in fact, what's happening right now is I'm wasting time. Because do you see that right now I'm gonna go top and the laning stage already started? Who's gonna take the level 2 power spike? They're already inside the creep wave. The range creep already got denied. I'm like, okay, I need to approach all of a sudden the lane as a classic position 5. I trade well with the enemy position 4, so I might as well do that, okay? So you kind of see that I'm not really trading with the Mars. I don't really feel comfortable. I'm looking for double DKs, and all of a sudden you just see that the fact that I did not get advantage of the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds, because sometimes laning stages are predetermined to be lost or won the first few seconds, okay? You're gonna see that later on. I'm looking for DKs. The problem is that I also have a partner, Slark, which we don't really synergize that well, okay? We're just waiting for level 2 right now, and the moment I get level 2, I'm like, okay, Tombstone, 3, 4 hits, and the tombstone just dies, right? So that wasn't actually, I regretted this tombstone so hard, because in the previous patch I used to go for 1-2-0 build, which is like a lot of nuke, but right now just I feel like tombstone level 2 might be better. It depends on the situation. And you see how I just buy consumables, how I just buy clarity. When do you buy clarity? When you feel like you're gonna do a lot of pulling. And like in theory it's just going really well, but I just traded all my consumables and all my mangoes to actually do that. Okay. The lane is pushed, so what do we do? Single pull for the last time. And we just right click it really fast. Waiting for my level 3, using the clarity, using the tango, and back to fight. But you see that the lane is not really going, it's not going bad, but it's not going well either, right? And all of a sudden they have level 3, I'm level 2, and that's like, that I should just die there, you know? Tombstone here, too much damage, they deal with the tombstone, and now Slark, he can't really do that, and just so hard, okay? It's just so hard to deal with that right now, just because they have actually enough damage to kill me from all my health to 0, just in one try, just one spear and I'm dead, okay? So what do we do when you play the lane like that, like when you're in this situation? You just try to play it like a casual post 5, where you don't really, you just need to build up, you just need to use a lot more spells before you actually, before you actually start trading, okay? Now we find this situation, that's a really good kill, but frankly, I still receive a lot of damage. What do we do? Stack, nothing better to do, back to fighting. Bring a Sal for my carry, and trying to heal him as much as possible. I'm just trading, and all of a sudden, I'm just dead. And you see, like, I don't even have a chance. I don't even have a chance here to, like, the moment I get speared, like, just so much damage, man. Just so much damage, and the fact that we're just losing this laning stage so hard, it's practically my fault, okay? Bringing a lot of regen. And lastly, we're gonna make one last fight, you know? Maybe we manage to win, you know, a fight and actually come back. And punching. Now I'm full health. I see that this guy is just low health. The gank is here, which is like really good, but that wasn't really that great. And here's like my thought process. I need to let my Slark get my level 6. So he'll do what? You know, he's actually gonna be fine to the lane. Last time, what did we do? Try to get jungle items, right? Try to get jungle items because the lane stage is still going on. So whenever you have the opportunity to just pull at 7:19 or like 6:45 or 7:15, do that, okay? Now I know that they don't have cookie, but look at that damage. I'm just practically dying, right? I don't even have a chance, and this is like where the lane stage is over, right? What I should have done, right, is instead maybe of a windlace, I should probably buy a raindrops, right, to actually sustain. And you see like we're just getting stomped here. The game was actually pretty fast loss, and that was mainly because of me. I felt like I could have won the lane, but I just underestimated how much damage I have. I was so confident, okay, 2 strength heroes, but that's not the case. Anyway, that's a guide, how to lane as Undying. 5 examples, I think it's more than enough information. If you do like this type of content, because it actually takes a lot of effort, please subscribe, please comment. You know, that will actually help me, and hopefully I'm gonna see you on the next video. GG.